What's up guys, it's James here, and in today's video, we're gonna talk about how you can generate a massive return on your investment through Airbnb design and setup and staging and furniture. So I wanna talk to you in this video specifically about if you're buying an Airbnb or if you're managing Airbnbs for clients, how you can use the interior design to help generate a massive return on investment. This is probably one of the easiest levers to pull in an Airbnb business, whether that's a property you own or a property you manage, to really ramp up the numbers on a property. So I want to talk about exactly how I do that on my properties and how you can do that as well. Now, if you are interested, down in the description below, there's a couple of links that I'd recommend checking out. So if you are interested in earning a full-time income managing other people's properties on Airbnb, we've actually got a free training that breaks down the whole process. It shows you how I did this myself, how I built to a full-time six-figure income managing other people's properties on Airbnb. We break down the whole process in this free training. And I even give you some free tools so that you can actually go out and have the tools you need to get started on your own. Again, all that completely free. So just check out that link in the description below. Now, if you are interested in actually investing in properties for Airbnb, you want to buy these properties, not talking rental arbitrage, I'm talking about actually buying properties for Airbnb, then I highly recommend as well that you check out the link down below where you can schedule a quick 15-minute chat with me. In that 15-minute chat, I'll help to kind of go over your goals. We'll talk about what you want to do, how you want to do it, and I'll see if I can help you to do that, because I am actually going to be working with a really small group of just 15 people over the next 6 to 12 months here, showing them how exactly step by step to invest profitably in short-term rental properties. So I highly recommend that you check out that link in the description down below to set up that 15-minute chat. If investing in properties for Airbnb is something that you're interested in, something you're thinking of, that's something that you want to explore further, then I'd be happy to chat more and see if we can help. So let's dive right into it and let's start talking about how you can generate a massive ROI from Airbnb design, setup, furnishing, all that fun stuff. So really what this comes down to at its core is doing all of your furnishing, all your renovations with the guest in mind. Have that be foremost in your thoughts. It's not about what you want, it's about what your guest wants. Now, one thing that does make this easier is that if you buy a property or you manage properties where you are the ideal guest, so for example, this cottage property I recently purchased a couple hours outside of Toronto, I am the avatar guest. I am a person who's in Toronto who wants to get outside of the city and have some relaxing time at a cottage. So by thinking about the things that I wanted at the property, I was also there by thinking about things that the guest would want. So that does make it a bit easier, but you just want to make sure that you identify who that avatar guest is, and you want to be thinking from their point of view, not your own, if your own is not shared with them, if that makes sense. So you want to think about the guest and have the guest in mind every single time you're doing these renovations or adding amenities. And the other thing you want to think about is, what is the goal? Well, the goal with any Airbnb property, if you're furnishing it, you're designing it, is always first and foremost for most of us investors, obviously, you do want to make the place look beautiful. That's one thing. But the biggest thing on your mind, if you're an investor, is that you want to get a good return on your investment. Now, luckily, that aligns us with the goals of the guest, which is to have an amazing time, because the more amazing of a time that the guest has, the better our returns are going to be, because they're going to leave us great reviews. Those great reviews are going to help us get more bookings. Getting more bookings will help us get further up in the search results, which will get us more bookings, which will get us more reviews, so on and so forth. I've talked about this incredible cycle before. And then obviously it works in the other direction as well, where if you do not add the right amenities, if you don't make the guest have an amazing time, then you're going to have the opposite working against you. You're going to have bad reviews, which will hurt your number of bookings, which will further decrease your results, your performance in Airbnb search results, which again just starts that cycle in the other direction. So you want to make sure that you're optimizing guest happiness, you're optimizing guest satisfaction. And to do that, we really want to make strategic investments that are going to make sense for us financially and that are going to make a ton of impact on the guest experience and therefore improve our overall returns. So here's a couple of basics that I always like to add to just about every single property. There are some exceptions. If we have like an off-grid cabin, different things like that, I might shy away from some of these things. But for 90% of all listings, I recommend adding a couple of basics that are really nice to have things for the guests that they might not expect, but that help to kind of go that extra mile for them. So one thing is phone chargers. Really simple, really easy to do. You know, how often does a guest forget their phone charger when they arrive at your Airbnb? And so having that phone charger right there ready for them is a really nice convenient bonus. You can, for a couple dollars, grab a couple phone chargers, grab a couple ones that'll work with different devices, whether it's Android or Apple, and that way you just have them there. It's a couple dollars. We're talking about maybe $100 to fully kit out an entire property with all these things. And that's going to create a lot of a nice kind of impact for the guest. So really, really well worth the investment there. Another really great one is having hair dryers. You'd be surprised at the number of Airbnb listings that don't include a hair dryer. There's a reason that hotels always include them. It's because it's a pain in the butt for the guest to bring with them, but it's something that they want to have there nonetheless. So going the extra mile and having things like a hair dryer that are pretty basic, quite honestly, but that a lot of hosts forget about, those things are really important as well. Now, getting beyond some of the more of those basics, and you want to really think about what are those basic necessities, there are a couple other things that are a little bit less basic, but also make a really, really big impact for a very, very small investment. So one thing I always love to include at the property is a Netflix account. I know it seems simple. Most guests would have their Netflix account already, but why would you make them go through the hassle of logging into their own Netflix account, which on most TVs is a complete pain in the butt because you have to scroll through different letters. Don't lie, we've all done it. You know how much of a pain it is. Don't make your guests go through that. Just let them use your Netflix account. Just log into that Netflix account on the TV. Make sure it's ready for them to use. Also, having an HDMI cable there, which is something you can pick up for $10, $15, is really great so that they can hook up their computer if they want to stream movies from their computer or something like that. I also recommend spending $35 to get a Google Chromecast or something similar to that so that guests can stream from their phone, and the more tech savvy ones can just do that slightly more convenient option. Again, all in for a Netflix account, you're looking at $120 for the year. For a Chromecast, you're looking at another $35 to buy it, and for the HDMI cable, another $15. So all in, we total it all up, and we're looking at about $170 for all that. Really well worth the investment because, again, it's going to really ramp up guest satisfaction. So going a little bit above and beyond that, you want to think about things that are going to really, make your listing shine above the rest, that you can highlight in photos that are really going to make the listing more desirable. So one kind of on the less expensive, but getting up there in price investment that I did recently on our Airbnb cottage is a projector and a little sound bar so that we've got a little home theater set up down in the basement. Now the projector we bought secondhand as well as the sound bar. So the projector we got for $400 and the sound bar we got for another, I think it was $130, $140. We bought a couple of cables to be able to run everything, conceal it. So all in, we probably spent about $700, I'd say, on the whole setup once it's all said and done. And now that $700 setup, I know that's a pretty substantial investment, but you have to look at these things from an ROI, return on investment standpoint. That $700 investment is likely going to be the difference maker on someone booking our place or another place. Because if two of our places are neck and neck, and I know for a fact that there are very, very few, if any, other places that have a little movie theater built into the property on Airbnb in that area, then that means that the guest it's potentially going to tip them over into choosing our property over another one. Now, in the summertime, we're getting $500 a night minimum, up to $1,200, $1,300 a night. So if we can book one additional night on that property, then we're going to get a 100% ROI. We're going to fully recoup our initial investment, 2 nights, and we've doubled our money. Pretty fair to say that it's pretty easy to imagine this property will generate an extra 1 or 2 nights booking over the course of 365 nights in a year from this movie theater that's in the basement. So to my mind, that was a really, really great investment. Now, another thing that I am a big advocate for is making sure that you optimize both the high season and the low season. So there's a couple of things that we did to, again, make our property stand out amongst the competition and make it more valuable during the high season, but also make it one of the very few that has these amenities in the low season. Because in the high season, it's about getting top dollar value. So if you can get something that's going to make it more desirable, that is going to have people willing to pay more in the summer, that's great. In the low season, though, it's not really about making your property more valuable. It's about making your property just stand out from the competition, because the reality is in the low season, it's often only about 25 to 40% of listings that are actually getting the lion's share of the bookings. The rest of those listings are getting very little traffic at all. So you want to make sure you're in that top 25 to 40%. Now, obviously this is market dependent, depends on the area, but you want to make sure you're in that top pack of top performing properties that are getting the lion's share of the bookings. So a couple bigger, higher ticket things we did to ensure that is that the winter time for us is low season. So we added in a hot tub and a sauna. Now, all in between the two of those cost about $10,000. So it's not a small investment that we made. However, those are going to make sure that the property stays booked throughout the low season and is one of those properties that actually performs well throughout the low season. Because there are a few that do well, but there's only a few. Not all properties do well in the low season. All properties get booked in the high season generally, but not all properties get booked in the low season. Now, a low season, a pretty reasonable month for that is about $3,000 to $5,000 in the low season. And the alternative is it's very realistic to expect that your property could sit completely vacant throughout the low season if you're not in that top pack. So it really does make a difference of $3,000 to $5,000 a month. So suddenly, if we can fill up 2 months on the off season because we have these two really desirable amenities that make it actually a good place to go and stay in the wintertime, then you are actually getting a really strong return on investment. The other thing to think about is that honestly, it's not that great of a place to stay at in the winter if you don't have those amenities, because there are things to do outside, but otherwise you're going to be sitting inside. You can't use the campfire that we've got outside. You can't go down to the lake and actually go swimming or fishing or kayaking like you can in the summertime. So because the weather naturally removes certain amenities from our guests, we need to add certain amenities to our guests that we can for the winter time. Another smaller example of things that we did to increase our amount that people are willing to pay in the summertime is we added some board games and we added some outdoor yard games like cornhole and spike ball and bocce ball. Now, those, again, are just a couple $100 that we spent on those, but they make the property more desirable, so we're more likely to win bookings over other competing listings. So all those are different ways that you can really optimize both your furnishing and your amenities that you add to the listing to really maximize your return on investment on all these things. So all said and done with all this, we ended up spending between the hot tub, the sauna, all the furniture for the property, totaling up all the furniture and all the amenities, probably spent about $20,000 to $25,000 on all of it. Now, you could easily get higher quality furniture than we got. We went and got secondhand furniture off Facebook Marketplace, Kijiji, which is the Canadian version of Craigslist. But we went and got this stuff secondhand and decided to cut back on our spending there. This is a 6-bedroom, 3,000 square foot property. We easily could have spent $20,000, $25,000 just on furniture alone. But that stuff doesn't actually cause the guests to have a better experience. That nicer couch, it's not really going to make them go, oh my goodness, wow, this is such a comfortable couch. You don't really get additional comfort from just buying a couch brand new as opposed to secondhand. There's not a huge benefit to the guest. The guest is not going to want to stay there more in the winter time because there's a couch that's nice and comfortable as much as they would to stay there in the winter time because there's a hot tub or a sauna that they can go and relax in. So the bang for buck, the return you're going to get on those different investments is going to vary. You want to make sure you're allocating the budget that you do have into the right places. For us, that meant cutting some costs in some areas that weren't going to add a lot of value to the guests, like the additional furniture or just kind of ramping up the niceness of the furniture, making it high end. And then we reallocated that budget over to amenities that were really going to be valuable to the guest and make their stay more incredible at our place. So hope that all made sense. I hope that was really helpful. Again, if you want to learn more about how to invest everything step by step, from right through to how to actually find a property, how to analyze properties, how to buy the property, potentially work with investors when you're buying properties, right through to how to actually close on it, how to stage it, set it up, furnish it, list it, launch it, perform well long term, get management in place or manage it yourself, literally the whole thing start to finish. Click the link down below to schedule a quick 15-minute chat with me because I am going to be working with a really small group of students in a private mentorship program over the next 6 to 12 months, really holding people's hands and showing them exactly through how to do this step by step. It's such an incredible system that we're building with this private mentorship that I actually am guaranteeing students that we will help them to buy their first profitable short-term rental within the next 6 months if they decide to work with us. So again, it's not open to everyone. It is a very, very small, close-knit group. We're only going to be working with 15 people at a time. So I highly recommend if you want to get in on it now, because we're almost full for the next cohort coming up here. But if you think that it might be a fit for you and you want to learn more, you want to talk with me, see how I might be able to help you with investing in short-term rentals, then just click the link down in the description below and schedule that 15-minute call with me so we can chat one-on-one and see if it's a good fit. Otherwise, if you liked this video, if you got value from it, if you thought, hey, this video was actually helpful and it wasn't just a bunch of crap, then please click that like button. I really do appreciate it. And I work hard to try to make these videos as valuable as possible to you guys. So just click that like button, give this video a thumbs up, and I would love if you would do that for me. It just makes a big difference for our channel, helps me out a lot. So please just take a second to do that. And then as always, for any of you guys who are watching this channel and are not yet subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I want to have you in the family. I want to have you on the channel here. You can stay up to date. We post 2 new videos every single week. And like I said, I work hard to make those as valuable as possible to you guys. So if you want to stay up to date with the new videos we post, click that subscribe button. Don't be shy. I love to add you to the family here. Click that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next